For my final video of the year, I want to look back at all of the incredible games that released in 2020. This year might have been a dumpster fire for most of us, but at least there were some great games to help us through. So today I will be counting down my top 5 games of 2020. Now of course I've played more than just 5 games this year, but a lot of them were just ports of older games like Super Mario 3D All-Stars and the BioShock collection. I also played some games from previous years like Yoshi's Woolly World and Katana Zero. But I won't be including any of those games in this list, it's just going to be new original games that released in 2020. And as always, all of this is just my opinion, so try not to get too angry. And if you can't tell from my name, I play mostly Nintendo games and games on Nintendo platforms, so don't expect anything like The Last of Us Part 2 to be on my list. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into the list. But before we get to number 5, I have to give an honorable mention to A Short Hike. This game just barely didn't make it into my top 5, but it's still a great game. This game actually released in 2019, but it didn't come to the Switch until 2020. Like the name suggests, A Short Hike isn't a very long game, but it's still a charming, fun, and enjoyable little adventure. You explore the mini open world of Hawk Peak Provincial Park, with the simple goal of making it to the top of the mountain. And like Breath of the Wild, you can climb anything and you can even glide. This game has such a relaxing atmosphere, there's no pressure to do anything, you can just exist in this world and explore. The dialogue is hilarious, and there's some fun mini-games like fishing and beach volleyball. The music is also pretty great. It may be short, but this was one of my favorite gaming experiences of 2020. Paper Mario: The Origami King is a pretty divisive game among the Nintendo community. Some people hate it and some people love it. I fall pretty much in the middle, but I think I lean closer to the loving it side. There are some pretty major issues in this game, like the battle system and the lack of an XP system, but the story, visuals, and music make up for it in my opinion. I'm so glad the world map is gone because it's so much more fun to explore a big, connected world and not just select levels from a map. The writing in this game is some of the funniest of any Nintendo game, and almost every single joke lands. I love the visual variety. Each area is so unique. It's really a shame that the battle system gets repetitive so quickly, and there's still no incentive to get into battles. I actually made a full review video for The Origami King, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts on this game, you can check that out. But overall, it's an enjoyable adventure for what it is, but it could have been better. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity is not your typical Zelda game, and that's not a bad thing. This action-focused game tells a story set 100 years before Breath of the Wild, and I love spending more time in that world. I always thought that we didn't get enough story from Breath of the Wild, so it's great to see so much more of these characters. I'm not the biggest fan of this style of gameplay, but it becomes considerably more enjoyable once you throw in a whole bunch of Zelda stuff. The story and cutscenes are definitely impressive, even though the story went in a different direction than I would have liked. I won't go into any spoilers here, but the longer the story went on, the more I disliked it. But being able to play as all of the champions and many other characters is so awesome, and they all have different and unique movesets. The gameplay does eventually get a little repetitive, but I actually enjoyed slashing hundreds of enemies at once more than I thought I would. I also really enjoyed all the mini side quests that help flesh out this version of Hyrule. This game is really good, and I hope the Zelda series continues to experiment with different styles of gameplay. I did not expect to love Spiritfarer as much as I did. I think I saw this game in a few indie directs, but it was never really on my radar for some reason. Then I saw it on the eShop one day and thought, I wonder what happened with this game, do people like it? Then I started looking up reviews and asking around, and I couldn't find anyone who didn't absolutely love this game. So I took a leap of faith and bought this game, and man, am I so glad that I did. Now I will gladly join everyone else and say that this game is incredible and deserves so much more attention. Spiritfarer calls itself a cozy management game about dying, and it's exactly that. It's a combination of games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, but there's also a lot of platforming as well. This gorgeous hand-drawn art style makes it feel like you're controlling an animated movie. This game doesn't shy away from tough topics. Instead, it tackles them head-on in emotionally satisfying ways that I wasn't expecting. And then there's the fantastic music. I wish I would have found this game sooner because this game is just so good. If you are at all interested in this game, you should get it because I can't recommend it enough. Seriously, I'm having a hard time coming up with any negative things to say about this game, and the fact that it's only at number 3 on my list just proves how amazing I think the next 2 games are. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a near-perfect game. I already adored the original Ori and the Blind Forest, and this sequel improves on everything that game did and more. The emotional story is full of twists and turns that will leave you crying. The stunning visuals always impress and are just beautiful to look at. The combat system has been completely redone from the first game, and now combat is the perfect balance between fun and skill. You have so many different options, from a spirit energy sword to a huge devastating spirit hammer that's so satisfying to use. The music is some of the best I have ever heard in a video game, and it's easily my favorite soundtrack of the year. It's wondrous, emotional, intense, and always makes any set piece so much better. And alongside the escape sequences, there are full boss fights this time, and they are so amazingly epic and so much fun to beat. I played and loved this game when it originally came out in March of this year, and then I played it again when it came to Switch, and I loved it even more the second time. I was super close to picking this game as my game of the year, and part of me still wants to. This game is seriously one of my new favorite games of all time. But there is still one game that defined my year more than this one. One that I consistently enjoyed throughout the entire year and always brought a smile to my face. And my number 1 spot on this list, as well as my game of the year, is Animal Crossing New Horizons. What can I say about this game that hasn't already been said? Animal Crossing has always been one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, so I was insanely excited for the first proper HD entry. And for the most part, it totally lived up to the hype. Of course it's not perfect, and it probably has more flaws than Ori does, but this game has become such a huge part of my life that I can overlook its shortcomings. This game is the definition of a relaxing and chill gaming experience, and I just love it. You get to customize and personalize your very own private island, and it's the perfect game to get away from our depressing reality for a bit. The game runs on a real-time clock, so if it's summer in real life, it's summer on your island. And all the holidays are celebrated too, including your birthday. The level of customization in this game is mind-blowing. You can even change the landscape of your island. Here are just some of the many screenshots I was constantly taking while playing over the past year. New Horizons is my comfort game. I can always turn it on and it will always put a smile on my face. Whether that's because a favorite villager of mine tells me they missed me, or because my house has been customized to perfection. When I look back on this year in the future, Animal Crossing New Horizons will stand out in my mind the most. Well, that's my list of my favorite games that released in 2020. Overall, I think it was a decent year for Nintendo. It may not be as good as 2017 was, but there were some great games that I had a blast playing through. 2020 has also been a crazy year for this channel. I started the year with under 200 subscribers, and now the channel has passed 11,000, which is just insane. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to be a part of this journey, and I hope you stick around to see what 2021 will bring. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see ya in the next one.